Morning.
Yep.
So thanks for joining us.
Looks like we're good on Facebook.
Facebook,
and the
good morning,
YouTubes.
welcome.
Let them know.
17.
Just so you guys know, we have a huge backlog of questions from the last last two streams.
We have 74 questions about Crackle Tunes, so we need to dive
When
into
is the
those.
launch control getting released? It should be.
Facebook.
It may take
and
a
then
couple seconds.
YouTube's coming, or
YouTube should be up as well.
YouTube's fine. All right, so we're good to go. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the 17th edition of the 034 Motorsport Live Chat Quarantine Edition. I don't know. We need to come up with a better name.
I know we got something.
It's the name for now.
We're not.
Yeah, it may take a second or two.
Oh, okay, looks like Facebook's still coming up.
Okay, a couple minutes behind, or a couple seconds behind here.
So, as always, this is a question and answer session. Feel free to ask us anything you'd like. We specialize in answers around 034 Motorsport products and services, as well as general automotive performance and otherwise knowledge. Nate and I have been messing around with cars in some capacity for about 20 years each.
Yep.
So we've kind of been around the block and seen and done a bunch of stuff.
We've seen things.
Things that you can't unsee.
Mm-hmm.
As always, ask us anything. If you have even a concern or problem with 034 Motorsport, we're always willing to tackle. If you disagree with something that we say, let us know. We're just talking off the cuff, and for the most part, I haven't heard too much flare up of anything that either of us have said. So
I think we're doing okay.
I think so far so good, but yeah, we just want to be open and honest and talk real. So we're not trying to trick anyone or fool anyone or blow any smoke up your butt or convince you of some magical thing that we do. Nothing we do here is magic. It's engineering. It's basic business principles. We have inventory management systems that are based on industry best practices. I guess you might not agree with some of our design choices, but those are, qualitative.
We try and balance the
We try to make
compromises.
things look beautiful and nice and pleasing, and we're always open to feedback. So
I'm still waiting on Facebook here, by the way. Let's see what.
yeah, Facebook. We need to get Facebook going.
It's always something.
Yeah, sorry, we're having some trouble with Facebook, but I guess the Facebook people can always catch up on this later.
Yeah, it says it's sending the data, so Facebook appears to be just a little behind here.
Someone said they came here for the magic. They better put on some magic.
Magic.
I don't know. I'm not good at magic.
I'm not feeling that good.
Well, I don't know. I mean, maybe some of my jokes are magical. I'd like to think, but don't let me convince you of that. Make up your own mind. Or maybe some of my metaphors and analogies are magical. I think that's possible. Yeah. So no, the main thing is we're just not about snake oil, and we're not gonna try to blow any smoke up your butt.
I'm gonna switch how we're doing the Facebook thing here. So give me just a
so
second.
We're gonna reboot Facebook, but I don't know. Why don't I get started while Nate's working on that, and yeah, hopefully Facebook can catch up afterwards.
Always something.
All these are recorded and uploaded.
Yeah, we'll be uploading.
So.
Start with the wheel. Question.
Okay. Do the 18 by 9.3 inch wheels for the RS3 fit under the Mark 7 GTI? I don't think they'll fit great. They're too wide. Yeah, they might fit in the front. That's a good question. I think if we talk to engineering, they'll verify why they don't fit. But we do have a wheel that fits the GTI really well, which is our 18 by 8.5 wheel. We have that on our in-house 2019 GTI. It fits amazing. It looks great. Lots of amazing tire choices in the 18-inch size. So that's the wheel I would recommend. Sorry, I can't be more specific, but I believe it's too wide. I don't think a 9.3-inch wheel fits well, and I don't think the offset is optimized either. So the RS3 has wider fenders, and generally a more specific fit.
Yeah,
So
we're up on Facebook now. So Facebook guys, you're a couple minutes behind, but you didn't
Uh,
really miss anything. We knew it wasn't working.
welcome Facebook. Yeah, I was just bullshitting, waiting to get you guys up and running. So Q&A session, ask away. We have a bunch of questions from last week, so we're diving in. What's the process for becoming a new dealer vendor for your products? We are always looking for new dealers. You can go on our website and apply. I believe there's a link on the website. You can just go to the contact page and send in a request, or if you want to email wholesale@034motorsport.com, we will get back to you with an application. There's an application process, and then we set your pricing and all that stuff. So shoot us an
Usually, you
email.
actually have to be a dealer, kind of thing.
You need to be like a real business. Can't be working out of your mom's basement. Things like that. So
Of questions, because there's been a lot of people asking questions.
yes, we have a long
just added
backlog
to
of
it.
questions because lots of people are asking questions.
Yeah,
So
you just put a
we're-
question back on the log.
yep, and that's great. That's
Yep.
why we're here. So it just means we won't be able to get to them all in 1 hour, but we'll do our best. We got about 50 minutes. So
Yep.
I plan on going stage 2 single pulley. What size should I go for? And also, do I need a different belt size because it's a different size?
Yes, both either the supercharger or the we have two different ways to do that. You can do a supercharger pulley, which is a smaller pulley, or you can do a crank pulley, which is a larger pulley. Both have different belts to accommodate each.
Mhm.
I think the supercharger one's, like a 1270 belt, and then the crank pulley, it depends on the pulley, but I think it's like a 1320 for the 190.
But it doesn't matter whether you do the crank pulley or the super
We have-
pulley first.
We have
It's the same boost.
Yeah, exactly. The 179 lower pulley or our single upper pulley are the same. We've got RPM charts on those. You can see kind of how everything works together. So it doesn't really matter either way. If you know you're going to go stage 2 or stage 2 plus with a dual pulley at some point, it's up to you.
Then it makes sense to start with the crank pulley.
Well, you can do either. It doesn't matter.
I guess it doesn't.
It really doesn't matter. If you know you're just going to do stage 2 single pulley, be done with it. I'd say just do the crank. It's going to be easier.
It's easier to install.
And the cranks have issues to begin with. The factory.
Yeah, the
cranks.
crank pulleys do fall apart from the factory. So, 2-step coming soon.
Oh,
Yes.
God, yes.
Any update on that, Nate?
Yeah, it's just time. I was off a couple days last week, so it kind of, hurt getting things out. But I'm really trying to get things moving. It's trying to support everything that's already going, and then find the time for the new stuff. So
But we're working on it. We have beta testers.
yeah,
who
there's
have
not,
found,
there's
they
nothing.
found some issues with it.
Yeah, there's
that we're
nothing
correcting.
wrong. We're just optimizing
Yeah.
a couple more things, and then it's just
Um,
going to be a big push to get everything.
And
up
some
to
of
date.
this stuff's related to different box codes or whatever. So we're getting all that done. We want to release a great product for you guys.
Yep.
And we're also supporting our current customers who are having tuning questions or concerns or
Yep.
whatever. So
Yeah, I can't go in a hole, and
Yeah.
I could pound it out in like 2 days if I could just crawl into a cave and do it. But
yeah.
it's,
And the good news
gotta keep
is
everything else moving.
we are moving to expand our tuning department.
Yes.
So we have 2 candidates that we're working closely with that we hope to make job offers to soon. So
Yep.
things are happening. As always, we recommend downloading the TikTok app and watching that while you wait for this to be released, and that could really consume weeks of your life without
apparently,
even knowing.
apparently the time just flies by. With
It
that,
does,
so.
yeah. So, louder crackles on the
Yeah,
S4 file
that's-
soon.
That's also coming.
Can we just get all the crackle stuff out of the way?
Yeah, let's just stack all that up right now.
Do it again.
we need a Rice Krispie tune. Yeah, I don't know what we're doing on crackles. Give Nick your
it's the
feedback.
same, yeah, it's the same update. We're taking the feedback. It sounds like the people that do want it a little louder now. So we'll be dialing it up. It'll be with the new software revision coming soon. I've got a couple other tweaks we're rolling in. I mentioned it, and I think in our customer group, we had a couple of tweaks from when we were doing the carb emissions testing. That's just going to be part of all the software moving forward.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the new DAZA intake launch soon. Yes. It's just a manufacturing.
Yeah.
Some of the parts are here and ready to go. I don't know exact timing. And so just for you guys out there to know, our current DAZA carbon fiber intake we just recently lowered the price substantially. So if you think that you're just going to stick stock turbo and you're never going to want to go bigger, you're never going to want to do like a 4-inch inlet or anything like that, I recommend you jump on our site and check out our current Daza intakes. We've dropped the price substantially, and we have quite a few in stock. We just want to move those out into the market because we're going to phase those out, and eventually we will just offer our 4-inch intake with various adapters to the stock turbo or upgraded turbo options out there. And so that will be more competitively priced with what's available on the market. But our current intakes are a smoking deal. If you want to get a really good flowing, really good performing intake that's optimized for the stock turbo, check out our site. But our 4-inch inlet intake should be within the next month. Should be released. So
yeah, we've got the parts all finalized, and we had a couple revisions on the tube. That's all done.
Yep.
So
and we still need to do the photography of the final parts, but once everything's here, we'll do that. So I think in the next month or so, and we have good inventory of these intakes. We typically always have them in stock. Stage 1 E40 plus new throttle body or stage 2? I mean, those are kind of apples to oranges.
Yeah, I mean, it's all depends what you're looking to do. The stage 2 is generally going to get you more torque, and, a little more power
And
overall.
pump fuel.
Pump fuel, stage 2 is still fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to mix your fuel.
If you're just running,
I mean, I would do stage 2 if I was just planning on driving on the street and I want to be able to fill up at any.
Yeah, I'd say
gas
just
station.
don't skip the throttle body. Just do stage 2 for now. You're going to get a little more out of it.
And then later you can do it all. You can do stage 2 E40 with throttle body.
Yep.
What's the super duper Charger?
All the Charger.
Yeah. More crackle stuff. Opinion on wheel spacers on the front wheels only to help with understeer on B8.5.
Track doesn't play as much of a factor as you think on
a little bit of track's not going to change. Now, if you could increase your front track by 6 inches, that would be noticeable.
Yeah, we're talking probably like 5 to 10 millimeters.
Yeah, you're talking about like an inch overall or less. It's not going to really be noticeable. Generally, we would recommend spacers for 2 reasons. One, for aesthetic reasons. If you want to make your wheels and tires flush, some people call it plus flush or hella flush, or and so from the factory, wheels and tires sit inset into the fender wells, and so you can bring those out, and it gives the car more aggressive. It gives the wheels a more presence, more aggressive look. And then the other is to optimize wheel fitment. So you need to move your wheel out. You need to decrease the offset. Make the offset smaller, then you can move the wheel out towards the fender, or move it out to center it in the fender, so you can run a wider tire. Those are the reasons. Any of our ZTF wheels, we work really hard so that the wheels install and are optimal without spacers or hub-centric adapters at all. So for example, our Daza 18 by 9.3, our upcoming 19 by 9.3, those are optimal fitment without spacers. They're flush, they're centered, everything's dialed in, no spacer required. But sorry, to answer the original question, a little bit of track isn't going to change the handle.
I wouldn't do it for
Yeah.
cornering. Cornering dynamics. I would do it for
This
either clearance or.
This is one of those
You have to
areas-
get careful. I don't know. I was
Yeah.
reading. I don't know if you mentioned the hub centricity.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there's a couple things to look out for that are a little more important on track than some
This is
spacers.
one of those areas where if increasing your front track inches changes the handling dynamic, then a company could say if you change it fractions of an inch that it does too, and that's a stretch of the imagination to be able to qualify that. So I wouldn't be surprised if you've heard companies saying that, but I wouldn't put any level of significance into that. Input on dual pulley IE car pulling on the 034 dual pulley, big throttle body.
Yeah, I already commented on that. Tons of variables there. Single videos like that are really hard to draw any kind of conclusions from. So, you always have to take it with it's a video on Facebook. So, we have no idea what the cars were running, what the temperatures were like on each, what pulleys are on each. So it's a video.
Yeah. There's videos of everything online.
You can see
could-
a dozen videos on either side of that.
Yeah.
So
You could easily doctor a video like that. You could have one guy not accelerate as hard. I'm not saying that's what happened in this video,
yeah,
but
this is just any of the just videos you see on Facebook without any.
we would never
data
use a
around
video
them.
like that to prove anything. So, for us, we like to talk about the quarter mile times. And so we have several customers who have set world record times in our, our little industry. And we have, these customers are running faster times than anyone else has run on any other tune. So, that's something to look into. I think there's probably plenty of videos out there that show the opposite of what happened.
Yeah,
in
it's
this
really
video,
tough.
too.
And then you can have two cars. Because I go over logs of these cars from customers all week. You can have two nearly identical setups, same hardware, same mods, with really different air temps and different performances due to it. The intercoolers on these get compromised pretty quickly and pretty often. From fins being degraded to leaking cores to just pump issues to restrictions. So there's a ton of variables that just a video is hard to put any merit or weight
So
into.
you won't see us.
So if there was logs in each and we had reasons, we could look at
Yeah.
some actual real data. That's one thing. But just seeing a single poll, that's
you
tough.
won't ever see us push or promote a video like that of one of our cars against a competitor car of something that happened on the road like that. But you know what? It's entertaining. If you think that proves something, I guess that's your interpretation of it. But we would just caution that it doesn't necessarily mean a lot. There's a lot more to determining what a good tune is and factors that you should take into account than a video like that. I actually haven't even seen this video, but I can imagine what it is.
Yep.
Do you reduce NOx sensor detection on dual pulley S4 BA tunes?
We use the same. Well, it's a tricky question. We use the same knock detection across all of our tunes. We do not modify it for dual pulley, single pulley, or there's no difference across all the tunes. It is different than factory because the factory maps basically stop at a pretty low load level. So we go through and we properly remap it to a more usable range that we're that we're operating in now. But
it's not dumbed down. It's not
it's not
desensitized.
Yeah, no, we haven't.
It's
had
fully
any,
functioning.
We haven't had any knock issues that weren't caught.
And to Nate's point, the way we remapped the knock detection for this tune is much better than how the factory maps.
The factory basically you come up to a point that's now at like half or a third of your actual load, and you're just riding one cell across. We actually expand that, and you're operating within the.
But there are lots of tunes out there where they can't get the timing right, so they just reduce the sensitivity of the knock sensors. Or I've seen tunes where they were just turned off.
Yeah, we have a pretty we explained this in detail a couple years ago, and kind of wrote a little white paper on it. But we have a pretty systematic way we go about developing those tables, and it's we run multiple octanes with different it's one of the first things we do when we're working on a new tune, because all the factory tunes need some level of it. But we run multiple octanes. We determine what where the actual knock thresholds are, how much we need to move it up, and where.
Yeah, and we like to talk about this, how we program our tuning to be like how the factory is, with all the safety, all the ECUs functionality intact in place. We don't like to dumb down the ECU or make it blind to what's going on. So the key is to remap, and recalibrate the ECU so that the factory safety features are still in place, but recalibrated to account for the new tuning variables that we've put in place. Typically, much higher boost than what the factory would run.
Right. So we try as much as we can with all these tunes to keep everything operating in a factory way with the accommodations that are there for a good reason.
Yeah. So here's a related question. I got told, presumably online, that lightweight crank pulleys can cause false knock. Is that true? I really don't think so.
No.
I don't know what the basis of that would be, but certainly all of our tunes run our lightweight aluminum crank pulleys. We don't have any issues with false knock detection. It's certainly our tunes are incredibly well data logged. It would be very obvious if that was happening. So I think there's people.
Yeah, I mean, we've got so many cars out there that are either running just a single upper pulley or our aluminum lower, and there's no difference in the law.
There's stuff out there online, right? So I mean, there could be an application where, like let's say on a Chevy 350 or something, where it's not very well balanced, and then if you take the harmonic balancer off and you put an aluminum one, it could. Cause some issue with
there are a number
crankshaft dampening.
There are a number of different motors that are not that they're balanced as a unit versus individually balanced. These are individually balanced setups, so you don't have to go through and do a full rotating assembly balance.
Yeah. So what Nate's referring to is there's plenty of engines out there where at the factory they take the crankshaft, they put the rods and pistons on it, they put the flywheel on it, and they put the crank pulley on it, and they balance that entire rotating assembly.
Yep.
And so once that rotating assembly goes in the motor, it's balanced. Now, if you take that flywheel off and you swap it out with a different flywheel, you've now thrown off the entire balance. But these Audi motors, the crank pulley is balanced as an individual unit. The flywheel is balanced as an individual unit. The crank rods and pistons are balanced as an individual unit, and that's called zero balancing. So these components are all zero balanced, so that as long as you just swap in another zero balanced component, then you don't affect the balancing. But again, I think whoever said this is based in some type of truth out there, and now they're just applying it as a blanket statement to all motors. And I mean, this is a common issue with information on the internet, is you have one thing that's based on truth, and then it gets
just blanketed across everything.
Conspiracy theory or just straight up incorrect information. It's very common. So, but no, we would certainly know if that was the case. We would not be able to offer what we believe is the best 3.0 T.
We've run fluid dampers. We've run, obviously the factory damper. Our pulleys, other pulley. We haven't seen anything that's been a measurable, noticeable difference from a knock or a timing standpoint.
B8 S4 57,190 versus 57,194 or larger ratio. Data opinions.
Heat is going to be a big factor, and it's something you've really got to keep under control the bigger you go. I think 179 to 190 within that range is going to cover most people and get you kind of the best performance. Our fastest cars we've got out there are like mid 180 millimeter pulleys. So we haven't seen a lot of situations where 190 or bigger has been any better. Some people like it. They like the extra mid-range grunt you get out of it. But if
because you can optimize, you can make more boost down low, but then it's going to be
around. But if you're trying to wind it out and run a quarter mile run on it, it's not going to be. It's really hard to keep cool.
There's a big misconception out there that more boost is always equals more power. Every boost adder device, whether it's a turbocharger or a supercharger, has a level of efficiency on how it compresses air versus how much heat it produces. And typically, the factory sizes these power adder components to operate in a range of optimal efficiency. So that means it produces the target boost pressure with the minimal addition of heat. If you've ever looked at a turbocharger compressor map, and superchargers have compressor maps as well, you can see these gradients which signify the amount of pressure and the amount of heat that gets generated.
It's generally an efficiency map.
And it's communicated in efficiency. So for a turbocharger, you might be in optimal, right in the middle of the map, might be like 85% efficiency. That's very good. That means the turbocharger will produce that boost pressure at an 85% efficiency level. But as you raise the boost, the efficiency level drops. And so you might look way on the outside of that compressor map where the turbo is producing the maximum boost it can produce, and the efficiency may drop to 40 or 50%.
Yeah.
So that means to get that boost pressure, you're having to do a lot more work. And that work causes the air temps to skyrocket.
You're turning a lot of that work into heat versus pressure.
And that's the problem with efficiency. So these superchargers, we have found on the B8 that like a 190 is kind of the top of the efficiency range that you would want to accept.
Yeah.
Actually, the smaller pulleys
or bottom of the efficiency range you'd want to accept. Yeah, it's
the top of performance that you would want to accept. Now, I think the 179 is the superchargers in a more efficient range is producing less heat.
Yep.
the power you gain by going to 190 is diminishing returns because the efficiency is dropping.
Yep.
So this is kind of like if you're running a marathon, you could sprint, but you're not going to finish the race.
Yeah.
You're not going to be able to make it because you're going to overheat. So,
Yeah, and I've got, I mean, my setup right now, I've got a 179 on my car, and it's putting down within like a horsepower or two,
Yeah.
the same as what I was, peak horsepower, what I was putting down on the 190.
Yeah.
So
it's a different,
wherever you're driving in the power band, it's going to.
you can finish the marathon by jogging at an even pace, or you can try to sprint and go faster and you won't even finish. And so these once you go above 190, essentially you don't finish because the heating
Yeah.
is too much to even get to red line.
Yeah, unless you got some exotic cooling or really,
Yeah, you
know why you're doing
but
it.
you're having to add more and more cooling per unit of boost because of the efficiency.
We've got, I think like Jay Bullington's an example. He's a big autocrosser, runs a big pulley at this point. But he's operating in a different rev range and for a very limited amount of time. So
to Nate's point, a supercharger is a linear device where the supercharger is connected to the crankshaft. So the faster the crankshaft spins, the more boost the supercharger produces in a very linear fashion. So if you want to run like a 194, you will make more boost down lower where the supercharger has some efficiency left. But once you get above 5,000 RPM or so, the supercharger will just be making heat. And at that point, it's not actually more power. So, all right, next question. Are you going to make 19-inch wheels for the RS3 TTRS, and when will they be available in black? Yes, we are making a 19 by 9.3 for the RS3. It also fits the TTRS. They will be offered in our anthracite, which is kind of like a chromy, blacky silver color. We are talking about doing different colors in the future. We haven't decided what we're going to do. Whether we're going to bring the wheel and then have them painted here locally to order.
Yeah,
we really can't put like
stocking a bunch
8
of
different colors in stock right now. It would literally fill our entire warehouse with different colored wheels.
Yeah.
And I think this is what a lot of the other companies do too, is you order the wheel and then they ship it in 2 weeks, whatever color you want.
Right, it gets finished at point of order.
If you really want this wheel and you really want it in black, contact Nick and we can figure out a way to do it. Like we have a great wheel painting place locally.
Yep. And
we could just pass that cost on to you for the time being. Yeah, and there's always spray paint.
Yeah, we don't do that.
More plastic dip.
The
and stuff like
Malakas
that,
fell into that program.
But that 19-inch wheel should be out in the next month or two. So I drive a Golf Mark 6R. You offer stainless dead set kit for it. I've read about stainless, aluminum, brass material. Why did you choose stainless? So
that was a good one.
So this product is designed to lock the factory subframe in place. The factory subframe has bolts in big slotted holes, and so this allows you to tweak the alignment a little bit. Specifically, you can even out the camber from side to side by sliding the subframe around. We did not invent this product, but it's a well-known product and it's a much-needed product. So we came out with our own version. We use stainless steel because the entire purpose of this product is to hold the subframe in place. Stainless steel is an extremely hard, strong, and dense material, and it will hold the subframe in place better than any other material. Certainly better than aluminum or brass.
One huge problem we ran into with some of the Mark 6 cars
specifically,
was some of the brass or aluminum or any of the softer inserts would deform as you were clamping them up, and they would start grabbing the threads on the bolts. That material would then shave off and go up into the threaded portion in your chassis or in the frame rails, and then that would effectively on some cars, if they were like a TTRS, for example, have captive nuts in there, and it would actually rip them right out of the body.
So this is actually the reason we came up with this product, is because
pretty detrimental.
In our service run, we had several instances where these brass ones galled and caused damage to the frame rail, and so we just went on our CNC machine and machined some up just to get these cars out on the road. And it spawned a whole product.
We had to. In case you're wondering, Audi's answer for that is you need a new body in white
Yeah.
That's literally how they fix it.
$20,000
They will not touch anything else. It's like, oh yeah, you just need new
Yeah.
body.
Now the Golf R is a steel subframe, steel
Right.
frame.
Yeah, it's different on the other cars.
The TTRS is aluminum.
The TT and the TTRS is
So there's
specific.
thread, helicoils inside
Yeah.
the frame, the aluminum frame. So I don't believe that there's a better material than stainless steel for this. This material just needs to be hard, durable, strong.
Yeah.
Needs to resist deformation of any kind. As you know, aluminum, brass are very soft materials. Brass is specifically a material that people use. There's like
Because
brass
it's
hammers
non-ring
and there's
deformed.
brass
Yeah.
jaws you can make, specifically because it's soft. So I don't know the logic behind using any other material. To us, it's like, yeah, you use stainless steel. I mean, we would use titanium or something if it made sense, but stainless steel is a cheap, affordable, the perfect material for this job. There's really not a lot of debate around that. So I'm not sure how these other companies arrived at that material, but that's our position. Real ETA on ignition clutch control.
We can just stop showing you guys.
So here's the problem.
Teasers.
If you're becoming upset that we teased it, then we just have to stop teasing, and that's also a bummer. So
Yeah, we want to share what's coming along and what we're doing.
we can either release a product that's not ready, or we can tease about it and have you guys come along the journey with us. And we have a number of customers running it who are betaing it, so it is out there. We didn't make this up, but
yeah, we're not just showing you a bunch of videos that are never gonna.
we have a standard that we have to meet and other priorities as well. So I mean, we could stop responding to customer, support tickets and things like that, or someone is having an issue with their car and we're giving them tech support on how to resolve that. So this is the other thing. There's no such thing as a real ETA, right? An ETA stands for estimated time of arrival. So these are estimates. And I think the last couple of weeks we've been saying we're working on it. And it could be another week or two.
Stuff comes up, and this is unfortunately not the highest priority. I want to make sure that our existing customers and like Jawad said, anybody that's got questions or issues now on what they have, they need to get service first.
And the fact of the matter is, our current launch control, especially if you have DSG, is the fastest launch control you can get. This one's cool. It makes popping sounds, fireballs come out.
The biggest thing
it's really cool.
You can adjust it,
but you're not going slower because you don't have this. So it's a real thing. We're not like making things up, and we will have it soon. So we appreciate your patience. You guys have any aftermarket coming for the A6 C7? I'm running 192. Would you recommend going back to 188? I have an intercooler coming soon.
Interchiller. It's really up to you. Again, like I said, it depends on your intake temps, what you're using the car for.
But we will have support coming for that.
It depends which C70's got. We support a lot of them already.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, yeah. So first off,
we're not telling you have to switch back. We're just saying there's benefits to each. Choose wisely. Be informed about it. Don't just go to bigger because it's bigger.
Yeah. Shoot us an email, tuning@034motorsport. We'll let you know what we have. And yeah, as per the discussion we just had, you're not really gaining anything by going to 192, but we do offer a 190, so you can stick with that.
Yeah.
You're just going to be exceeding the intercooler's efficiency at the top of your power band.
Get some data if your intake temps are good because your interchiller setup seems to be working, then have fun with it.
Yeah. I think I read somewhere a while back that the ECU will turn off the AC compressor if it's running when the engine RPM reaches a certain point. Is that true? Is it vehicle specific?
It is completely vehicle specific. That is true.
It's usually a load.
We do. Yep. We do remap that on a number of cars to turn off the AC under full throttle conditions and depending on driving mode and whatnot. But it is there in many ECUs these days. A lot of factory implementations don't use it. So the mappings are all there. They just push all the limits up, so it never turns the AC off.
This used to be a real problem. Like back in the Audi 4000 Quattro days, if you had the AC on, the car felt noticeably slower. It's like, you felt the 10 or 15 horsepower out of the 130 that you had that were gone. And so you would turn off the AC and get a huge power boost. Not that the AC even worked, those cars. The compressor would just run and
It was
rob your
purely
engine of power.
purely
Hot
parasitic.
air would come out of the vents. But I would say generally modern cars, I don't know how many young guys, have you ever noticed this dynamic, Nick?
No, it doesn't.
Yeah. So,
Affected really, yeah.
Nick has never noticed this. When I got into cars, it was a big thing. Like you got to turn off the AC, or you would just run without it because it was so much faster. So I think most cars do it. Nate, obviously being in the code, sees exactly which ones do and don't.
Some of the big turbo R's have an issue where it doesn't automatically shut it off, so it's like
Yeah. So, but it's all remappable, and,
Yep.
and we do turn it off in our tuning. How durable are the 3.0T supercharger engines? I'd say very durable.
They're pretty damn strong motors from the factory. There's a couple of Achilles heels on them.
Yeah.
There's the thermostats were a big issue.
Mhm.
A year or two after release for everything, and that was kind of something that everybody had to replace at some point.
And there's definitely
Water
some
pumps,
some
there's
ring
PCV valves,
some ring oiling ring issues where they'll
Some-
run some extra oil,
yeah,
but it's not bad.
Overall, out of all the VAG motors out there, it's I'd say one of the better.
I would say, given that we have a thriving aftermarket of engines producing like 500 plus horsepower
With a
on
myriad of-
stock motors, back in the 2.7T days, it was like you go stage 3 KO4 turbos, and then you build your motor. It was just like the thing that everyone did.
And it was a neutered KO4 tune to keep the motor together.
Yeah. So no, the 3.0 supercharged motor is very durable, very strong. We recently had a customer who had a piston failure, on a very heavily driven and abused car.
But no reason for it.
But there was
It was
no
simply a
root
metallurgical issue. It was a single piston cracked.
Yeah. So they're good, reliable motors. That's what makes the B8 such a great tuning platform.
Yeah.
Any plans to make a billet intake for the Gen 3 E888? We have no plans currently.
No.
I doubt that's something we would do. No.
There's
I mean, if everybody all of a sudden wants one, and we think
the only billet manifold we've done have been because there was no other
there
solution.
was a adaptation.
There wasn't a
or
reason,
Yeah, and they didn't sell very well, unfortunately. I mean,
that's tough.
it's
They're really expensive to build
Yeah.
and to do right.
Curious to know on a B8.5 S4 DSG in sport mode why the TCU shifts early, releasing throttle pressure, for example, after a pull. It seems like it wants to get into the next gear to be in lower RPM.
I have no idea. That's one, like, how are you driving it? Are you just light load cruising? That's a tough one to answer without any more
It
data.
is. I mean, you could run some logs and try to get some
Yeah.
data on
Yeah,
what's happening.
Yep.
Generally, from the factory, though, the ECUs are programmed to shift as quickly as possible and get the
Yeah, and we
engine
don't,
RPM down and into a lower load.
yeah,
as
we
quickly.
specifically don't alter a lot of the light load driving because usually when you're light load driving, you're trying to go for economy. If you want to just cruise around in second gear all day, put it in manual mode and do that, I guess. But there's really not a lot of reason if you're just really light on the throttle to hold a gear for an extended period of time. If you want to, just put it in manual mode.
I want to improve my suspension and steering experience on my 2015 Audi S4. What recommendations do you have? Absolutely. So we have, we would recommend just giving your car the Dynamic Plus treatments. That product line is designed to kind of transform how the car drives and handles. We offer our Dynamic Plus lowering springs, which are lower and stiffer than stock, and they're designed and optimized to work with the factory dampers. We have a rear sway bar. We specifically don't offer a front sway bar. The rear sway bar does reduce body roll, but it gives the car a more lively character in turns with less pushing. We offer end links, which hold up to the increased rear sway bar stiffness. We offer front end links. And then we definitely recommend doing all of our inserts. So we have a transmission insert, diff inserts, subframe inserts.
Yep.
Oh, and then a big benefit will be our adjustable upper control arms. And so those will allow you to add some more camber,
Yep.
which will which will I'd say adding camber to a stock car is one of the best things you can do to completely transform the way it steers and drives.
Yeah. And soon
so-
to be lower spherical.
Yes, and then we will be releasing our lower spherical control arm kit soon, which removes any play or slop from the front lower control arms, which are rubber. So definitely check out that product line. If you have any questions, shoot us an email. Be happy to chat. Is the INA throttle body file on the server?
See, you read
for
it. You
the-
didn't do the. What the question is the INA TB file on the server for the IABED INA throttle body? Yes.
Yeah.
That's what it's for.
What's the?
It's an abbreviation that literally means throttle body, so you don't have to read a paragraph on the
Oh, yeah.
server.
Throttle body
Oh.
file for it.
Yes, that is for that.
Great. All right.
Next question was, can you run a DSG tune without an ECU tune? Yes, you can. You have to make sure you run a DSG tune that has proper shift points, though. We do have some files up that will shift early enough for a stock ECU tune, but that's the biggest considerations. You have to make sure that the shift points are basically, the peak shift points are about the same as stock, because that's you can run into trouble where if your DSG is trying to shift higher than your engine rev limiter, you're going to have a rough time with your shifts. You're just going to bounce into the engine rev limiter first.
Any more plans for B9A4 products? Yes,
Mhm.
we are working on density motor mounts for those, and those should be available possibly later this year or early next year.
Yep. Software, of course.
Yes, we will have tuning available. We have a really hefty product line for that car already. It's by far the biggest, broadest, most complete product line of any company on earth for the B9 platform. And I'll just add, I could live a long time with a B9A4 DSG with all of our products on it. It is a phenomenal car.
There's surprisingly good cars.
Honestly, I think I would take that over, an S4 or something like that, because the A4 is so well balanced. It has less weight on the nose. That motor is not lacking for power at all. And it makes for a really fun, sporty car that you can really drive.
Mhm.
And they handle great. So there's something about the A4 I love. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot of car for it's very. We were very surprised and happily so when we got ours.
They're pretty bad stock. So I think
They have
they've
pretty
gotten
compromised
kind
stock,
of a
yeah.
bad rap because people are like, oh, they're
you-
like boats
You
stock.
put springs and sway bars on that
But-
thing and some inserts, and they sharpen up a lot.
I mean, that's what the aftermarket's all about, right? You take a car, you actually want the worse the car is, the better you can make it. Right.
stock.
So the first time we got into an A4, and ours even had the sport package on it, and it still had a lot to improve. And it was interesting because then we leased that car, so I drove it once with all of our products on it, and then like a week later, I drove it stock back to the dealership, and it's like hard to believe it's the same car. It's completely transformed. So, but yeah, I'd say if you want more products for the B9A4, just make sure you have all the products we already have.
Yes.
And that's a good start. Tuning for ZF 8-speed.
Yep, we're working on it.
We have it.
We have it.
We
yeah,
have it. We're
we do.
selling a discounted beta file right
Yep.
now, which is quite good.
Yep.
And then, of course, in the future, once we release the final version, you would get it with no additional cost.
Of course.
So,
Yeah.
so if you're interested in ZF8 tune,
And there's
contact us.
just a couple of things like some peak RPM shift points. We're going to be raising that a little bit, and some launch control configuration. But the rest of it is working really well for the guys that are on.
Yeah. Just a quick little teaser. Hopefully nobody gets upset
Oh gosh.
because we're teasing this. This is not available yet, and this is not the.
But that one is. They can buy that one. It's
Yeah, you can buy this one for $1 million.
sure.
Nick, would you like to hand model this? So this is our upcoming DAZA 4-inch inlet. And we know this. We're not innovating anything here. We're not the first on the market, but we've had some time to see what everyone else has done and to offer our own take and try to offer all the considerations in this product that we think customers would want.
Yep.
So this is a full 4-inch at the inlet, and then the bottom at the inlet is stepped for various adapters, and so we will include adapters for the stock turbo, for various hybrid or upgraded options. it has the internal crankcase breather provision, which will be molded in, and this will be produced from cast aluminum material. Other than that, it will fit with all of our current intakes, and I believe it's a pretty standard location for most intakes on the market.
Yeah, I mean we
So-
clean sheeted it, but it's I mean they're all in there's only so many places you can.
Yeah, I mean all the inlets kind of the envelope falls in roughly this range. So
Yeah.
I think there's a good chance
Yeah, we
any
tested.
kind of silicone coupler would accommodate.
Yeah, we
this.
tested our 4-inch on a number of them too.
Yeah. So, anyways, this is coming hopefully maybe later this year. Something that we'll release.
Release.
Okay, and this is something we are currently shipping now. This is the B9 radiator cover. So when you open your hood and your little hood latch mechanism, this is the cover in the front. This gains approximately 45 horsepower or something like that.
At least only with the hood open though.
45 horsepower of social equity when you pop your hood. So no, it's not a performance part. This is a beauty cover. It will help kind of augment some of the other carbon fiber in your engine compartment and let everyone know you're kind of serious about your car and serious about the performance. So many of the modifications on these cars are hidden. You know, there's not big cool headers or
Yeah,
big flashy stuff.
we make it all like jewelry, but
Yeah.
you know it's a lot of it goes you see it once and it gets tucked
That's
under the
right.
car.
So, I don't know if I want to mention that yet because I think it's going to be a little bit of time. And then, and if you guys saw, we released our TTRS carbon fiber DAZA
Covers.
engine cover last week. It's been very popular. They've been flying off the shelves. And we had some feedback on making the logo removable on that. So we have done that on the TTRS cover. And so we will just be shipping those with a sticker, the 034 decal, and you can choose to run it or not, or put it wherever. We just don't want to force. We don't want to force 034 Motorsport on you. But you know, we kind of got 50-50 feedback. 50% of people wanted the logo, 50% wanted a cleaner look. Fair enough. You know, we're not here to, again, force ourselves. So, anyways, yeah. So some exciting things happening. Yeah. Let's see. B9 RS5. What's ready? So what is coming is our X34 carbon fiber intake, which is in manufacturing.
Yeah, we think we put up a bunch of pictures of that last week.
Yes, as well as the high flow cat for off-road racing use. Those are available. Those are in manufacturing. Those are probably about a month or two out. We just recently sent some to a customer. They test fit them, installed them, everything checked out. In addition to our own internal validations, so that product has been green lighted to manufacturing. Can we get a VR6 to rear-wheel drive trans adapter? No, Nick. No, we cannot. Yeah, right. No, I don't. I think we're done with the VR6 conversions. That's just that's something we kind of pioneered about 10 years ago.
Yeah, at least.
And I think we've moved on. So we're all about OEM plus high quality, high performance modifications to your vehicle. We've kind of gotten out of the conversion business. That's a tough business. It's a very DIY based business, and
it's impossible to support.
It puts a lot back on the customers to solve and create solutions. And I think there's smaller, more scrappy companies out there who would probably jump at the opportunity to do some of those products. So INA Engineering would probably love to do it. So contact them. That's right up there.
I think they're still making some of those parts.
Yeah.
If not, they should be.
Have rear diff and all suspension is stock. What's that mean?
I think that was a crappy.
Who's vetting these questions? Jeez. Will you make a DAZA oil catch can? We're not sure. You guys keep asking about it. We really don't feel like the engines need it. We haven't seen any engine oil crankcase issues. The factory appeared to have got it right. We've tracked these cars extensively. They definitely need a DSG catch can, which we have released.
Yes.
The other issue is there's absolutely no room in the engine compartment. So we're struggling to fit our fuel surge tank in there, and so I don't know. I mean, keep asking us if you guys really want it. There is one on the market, although we don't know too much about it. There's not a lot of information on it. I really don't think it's needed, and so
Especially not with, I mean, the stock turbo stuff. It's, you know, where most of you guys are running. Yeah, we haven't seen. We like Drew said, we really.
the stock turbo is making 550.
I know. Well, so that's the thing. It's like
it's making it's
for
a
the-
lot
for
of
the
stress to the
vast
crankcase.
majority of applications out there,
And it's
we-
revving to like 8,000 RPM. I mean, you know, it's
Yeah.
7,500.
7,500. Yeah, no, it's
Still
I'm
really
agreeing,
high. Yeah. So we're just not crazy about releasing products if we don't think it's needed. So and it doesn't help that there's actually no where to put it either. So
Right.
but that's not the reason. We would find a place if it was needed. Is it okay to run your stage 1/2 100 octane file with 93 E85 cocktail, assuming you're taking proper precautions and monitoring?
I mean,
Officially, we can't recommend.
no. I mean, if you want to log it and check it, that's all up to you. We do have on most of these platforms or most of these applications now an E40 file for 91 for stage 1 and stage 2.
Right. So you might as well just run.
Might as well just run that.
Yeah.
You know,
But-
we recommend you do the fuel pump, the high pressure fuel pump, to go with all of those.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's official support for the combination you're looking to run. So
Yeah.
that's what we would
But
ultimately
we
recommend.
cannot recommend officially experimenting like that. We haven't validated that. But if could you make it work?
It's
Sure.
your car. You can flash
Yeah.
the files that are on there if you want to
Probably
go
doable.
ham with it. I mean,
But it's
just do it in an educated way. Check things, log things.
not what the file was
Uh,
engineered to do.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Will there be a fuel tank drain feature added soon?
There will
Same
be.
V8?
Yep, that's something I've got working already. It's just needs to be packaged up in.
Yep. So
pretty
stay
dope-
tuned for
pretty dope.
that. We don't have a
Yeah,
solid
that's
ETA.
that's all part
but
of this toolkit we're working on for
Yeah.
end users. That's going to be part of the logging program.
Anything in the works for B8.5 RS5? I don't believe we currently do.
Mhm.
That's a pretty small market with not a lot of cars, and a lot of those cars now are kind of being kept relatively unmolested because they're really nice cars. They're really cool cars. So I don't think we do. I apologize about that. What's your opinion on the DS1 product? It's good. We like it. We've actually met those guys and talked to them. We have a lot of respect for what they're doing. We actually are, all run in the same circles going back to the
Way
the
back,
2000s. We used to race against those guys when they were at Cobb. So, it's a good product. The guys behind it are smart and knowledgeable. And I think we only have good things to say about DS1. And I think they have some exciting stuff coming. We're hopefully looking to work with them on some of their upcoming products as well, because what they're doing is actually pretty exciting. So, yeah, and they seem to be real professional, nice guys.
Oh,
too,
yeah.
which
they've
which
been-
really helps. Can always use more of those in this industry. Will you ever make coilovers? Maybe, but I gave about a 5-minute spiel about this that Nick will be. So Nick's going to be taking a lot of the blurbs from these and breaking them out into their own videos, because a lot of these little discussions Nate and I have stand alone very well as discussion points that we don't see other people talking about.
And if
for
you want to get
whatever
technical, you already have coilovers.
reason. Yeah.
Coilover means spring over.
Yeah.
So
But
adjustable coilovers. That's
adjustable coilovers, we don't have any plans currently. Frankly, we just haven't seen the need, and we feel like for the average street driven and driving event track driver, there's real no benefit. The coilover adds additional complexity.
Yeah, it's often
cost.
a hindrance.
That doesn't actually make the car handle any better. So, adjustability is good when you need it, but once you hone in on the application, it doesn't need to be adjustable anymore. I mean, imagine, if you like to make smoothies, well, a blender has, a variable knob on it and has all these different features and functions. But if you only ever make the same smoothie with the same ingredients, then you can have a blender that you just turn on and it does the same thing over and over again. And I mean, that's kind of like what our suspension, we've done all the adjusting for you. Now you don't have to adjust. You just install the optimal version on your car and you get the ultimate benefit. So that's kind of where we're at. The only reason we would do that is if we wanted to give customers something that was really adjustable, and typically that, if we sold racing products, then yes, all of our suspensions would be coilovers, because in a racing you need tremendous amount of adjustability. But on a street or track day car, you just don't need it. So you just want to go to the track, you want to drive, have a great time, high five your buddies, and go home. Maybe eat some cheese and drink some wine, and you don't need coilovers for that. But there's, if you really got to have coilovers, there's plenty of good options on the market. So knock yourself out. Do you have an intake for the C5 all-road? Sort of. So our B5 X34 does fit, but it just requires some trimming. We've had many customers do this.